We now welcome back Mike Wheeler, and Mike is presenting on People Vote and Pay Rates, Dogs and Cats Don't.
There's that bright light again. Thanks, folks. I appreciate y'all letting me come back today, and I appreciate everybody being here this morning. I know there were some late nights, early mornings. I did want to start, before I actually get into my presentation, there was a situation that was brought to my attention this morning. So what I would like to do, I would like to talk about a dog named Scout from Melbourne. This dog has disability grandparents. And as we learned earlier today, quite a few of our own personal animals have gotten out. Well, Scout got out. Scout was hit by a car. Scout was taken to the Lord Smith Animal Hospital. And being disability grandparents, they didn't have the funding. So they were given the option of owner surrender or euthanasia. Well, obviously nobody wants to own or surrender their pets or even euthanize their pets, but they chose life over death. So what we've got is a common situation in Australia and America where people with lesser means are faced with these decisions. Now, Scout had surgery yesterday and from what I understand is doing well. The problem we have now is we have disability grandparents that no longer have Scout. And as I've learned with Ginger, we won't do that again. This is a tough situation for everybody involved. What I would ask you, obviously money is always appreciated. The pet medical crisis is handling this, so if anybody or organization would like to donate, that's great. But what I would ask you to do is go a step further and reach out to Lord Smith Animal Hospital in a caring, compassionate way, not blasting anybody on Facebook. We have this, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So reach out to them in a human and humanity and compassionate way and ask them to help with the return of Scout. Like I said, this is being handled through the pet medical crisis, so you can always help them. Oh, there they are. You can always help them with a donation to help cover the cost because obviously money will get Scout back faster. However, this is not a plea for money. This is a plea for you to reach out as Australians, as humans, to help this family get their dog back. So with that, we're going to go into the presentation. And I thank y'all in advance, and not to worry, all things, I have the ultimate faith in humanity and that Scout will return home. So thank y'all. People vote, cats don't. This is a philosophy that I've used. It's something that simply means you have to, in order to get your governments, in order to get things you need to that make lives better for the animals in your care and the animals in your community, you have to have the community support. People vote for the elected officials. People provide you with fostering volunteers. We heard that in many presentations and in mine earlier. So this is how to make your organization the shining star of the city, because I tell you, when your organization is the shining star, every elected official wants you part of their political platform. They want you standing beside them on the podium when they're talking about getting votes. We all seen that face before. So we know for more than 100 years, government services, animal services has been the forgotten department in the city, territory, or state. Local animal service departments typically have the lowest budgets. Anybody in here have the highest budget in their government? Okay, I'm not moving. We always have the fewest employees, the lowest pay scale. Anybody's pay scale in here the highest in the government? The least desirable locations, mine is next to the sewer pond and the railroad track, and it floods. So what else do you get? And typically we have the oldest buildings, right? Sometimes we're even put into buildings that other departments vacate, and we're forced to make those into adequate sheltering for animals. But you know what all these do? All these send the message to the community and beyond that we are the lowest level of importance in the community. If we have the lowest budgets, the fewest employees, the worst locations, then the community looks at us as being less important. You know, it's time to change. This session will provide details on how to build a foundation throughout the city and government, how to ensure your organization has the community backing to withstand hiccups. Hiccups is social media disasters. I call them hiccups because it's just an opportunity to make things better and to talk to folks. How to use community programs to make a difference, and how to become a necessary part of every elected official's political platform in your government. So this is a little about my organization from when I started in 2009 and then and now. When I started, there was 3 of us. One person cleaned, one person worked the desk, one person worked the streets. Budget of 245 American dollars. These are American dollars, by the way. We had 0 community programs, 1,830 animals a year. We had a live release rate of about 64%. We killed 646 animals that first year. And we took in $741 in donations. Let's skip ahead. The next year, or 2012, still at 3 staff. Budget went up a tad bit. We put in 1 community service, a low-cost spay clinic, neuter clinic, desexing clinic. We took in 1,661, 82% live release, 299 killed, $645 donations. 2019, we call this PC, pre-COVID. I had 5 employees. My budget increased. In 7 years, it increased to $269,000. It's not very good over a 7-year period. We now had 2 community programs, so we were big time. Our numbers jumped up to 3,357 animals we took in. The budget didn't equal the animals. Our euthanasia rate and live release rate was amazing. We had a 0.7% live euthanasia rate. 99.3% of all the animals that we touched went home. We thought we were amazing, right? Because we've all been taught it's all about the live release rates. We killed 23. And here's something to try in your organization. Every year we have, we all have off script, we all have volunteer appreciations and staff appreciations. Have you ever had a deceased animal appreciation day? We have them every year. I'm trying. Where we sit and we go through pictures of every animal we euthanized, and we tell their story. They've gotten shorter over this time period, but it is very impactful for your community because we do put it on Facebook. It is very impactful for the volunteers and the staff, and it shows respect to those that we lost. Anyway, that's outside. But we still only brought in $32,197 in donations, which a lot of folks would love. 2020, we put programs in. And last year in 2022, I am now up to 13 staff. That's the importance those programs did for us, our community. Our government now saw the importance because it was important to the community. So I was up 13 staff. Jumped to $1 million budget. 23 community programs. My animal intake went to 1,022 because of community programmings. Now, a lot of folks will tell you, well, if you got less animals, you need less money. That's not correct. I mean, that theory's out there. Well, if you can bring in less, then think of all the money you save the government. No. That money goes into community programs. It goes back into the taxpayer pockets, back to help the taxpayers, the folks who pay everything. We're still less than a 1% euthanasia rate. We killed 10 animals in 2022. But donations, cash in kind, and grants, we brought in $710,347. And my budget increased without me asking and begging for money. They asked me what we needed. And that's what we got. And if I would have asked for more, I probably could have gotten more. But why be greedy? So we also, in 2006, we had a brand new animal shelter built by the sewer pond on flooded land next to the railroad tracks. But it was a new animal shelter, which, like all government buildings, it's made out of block and stone, chain link kennels, painted for warehousing animals. That's it. Not conducive to running any type of community programming whatsoever. So in 2021, we went before the public, and the public voted over 67% approval for a new 8-building animal service campus. Now, we're a small city. Just so you know, we're a small city. If you hadn't, about 27,000 people. And that we're that important to the community that they voted for us to build an 8-building campus. We are no longer an animal shelter, by the way. Little terminology there. We are Animal Resource Center, Animal Support Services, because sheltering gives the inclination that this is where people should bring their animals, not where people go for help for animals. So we no longer call ourselves a shelter. We're an animal support service center. We are there to support the community. But on that campus, and this is what they voted for, this wasn't we're going to get a new shelter. This is what they voted for. They voted for a new community support hub for our community services. It's one building. An adoption center, an education center, an animal welfare and surgical education center, where our veterinarian techs can come from the college over from us and learn their trade, hands-on. Small animal and wildlife rehabilitation center. And this is another building we're adding that wasn't part of the vote. We're adding it now as a vet school dormitory. We have a vet shortage in our country. We have them in my town. Matter of fact, our vet, we have 2 in town, they won't work with us. So our vet that comes to do our surgeries to our current facility drives from 75 kilometers away. Been doing it since 2012. But that's not adequate because I get them for 4 hours on a Tuesday and 4 hours every other Thursday. It's not adequate, but that's what we have. So we don't have a vet school in Arkansas. So what do you do when you don't have a vet school and you don't have enough vets in there? You convince a vet school to come to Arkansas. So I did. Lyon College will have the first veterinary school in Arkansas. It's the 3-year program. They will do a year and a half in class. And then the last year and a half of their studies will be living in dorms on our campus, working in our clinic daily, learning shelter medicine, learning how to deal with the public, something they don't get taught in vet school, learning how to run a business from a shelter point of view. So that, we just got approval. They broke ground last week. So that's coming. I'm not one to sit around and wait for things to happen. So, but we're also going to have on this, we have a community gardens. And our community gardens is tied to our seniors to handle food insecurities. And we paired that, because we got a grant, we paired that with our elder dog socialization program. So while they are working in their community gardens, the elderly in our community, we will have our elderly dogs out there wandering around and socializing with them. But we've also got a human food pantry. Because why should people have to go to multiple locations to get food for their dogs and food for them when they can barely afford the gas to go to one place? So we want the community to come to us for anything they need. Okay, I'm working on it. You've all seen this slide. It's no different than the slide I said the other day. We build the army of support. And I do want to thank those of you who are now in my quote-unquote Australian army. I did get over 60 text messages, and you've been added to my list, so thank y'all. If I need any assistance, I will put it out there. And my assistance will be typically, we have a group here that's being hammered. Can we jump in and support? Here's the story. And you will get a true story from me. No sugarcoating. These folks screwed up, but they need our support. Or these folks are being unfairly persecuted. So how to build it within your government and community. We all know my acceptance plan. If not, I can send it to you again if you weren't here the first day. We are not going to go through these again individually, but we know you got to be everywhere. You have to be available. You have to care about all people. Do as I do, not as I say. And remember that you're no one. Don't judge. Remain judgment-free. Judging individuals without truly knowing them, their lives, their challenges, their successes, leads to poor decisions and barriers to success within your community. That is not the first time you've seen that slide. We've been told, or I've been told my entire life, it takes 21 times to make something a habit. The University of Florida did a study on this. Just so you know, back in 2019, we are down to 17 times. I'm not showing you the slide 17 times, but you're on your way to seeing it, okay? Oops. All right, so I'm going to go through some of my programs. We're going to go through them fairly quickly, just because there is a lot. I'm not going to go details into every one of them. But we have a free ride home program. Many of you have some of these programs. Many of you may have all these programs. These are listed on my website, so everybody knows what our programs are. We don't hide them and offer them to this person, but not this person. They're for everybody. So if they're properly returned, if they're properly licensed to microchips without impound fees. This is once they get into the shelter system. In the field, they're always returned if possible. Hope Fund, in order to keep pets with their families and not brought to shelter, when sudden medical issues arise, we assist with a medical voucher program. Ours is a little bit different. We work with diagnosis first, because a lot of times we find that quote-unquote parvo puppy may be hookworms and not parvo. So for them to euthanize a healthy puppy at a vet's office, just because they can't afford the $1,000 the vet requires up front because it's a parvo puppy, they think, we'll pay for them to diagnose it. And then we'll look at the options, because it may be something simple as a dewormer. Paws on the ground. This is our case management style of operation. We have a street team of volunteers. They have a street van. They go out in the community. They provide food, crates, whatever community needs. We take them to the vets, to the animals for the vet for them. But they're out in the community, directly on the doorsteps, listening to what is truly needed. Sometimes I get a skewed view of what they need. That's why we're doing our community survey program. And they bring that back to our attention. And then we have a Fences for Fido program, which is fencing people's fences. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, because that's a big part of our animal management officer or animal control officer program. We talked about the first 48 already. We have foster programs, includes our Adventure Tales, which allows people to take dogs out for a day, take pictures of them going through the drive-thru at McDonald's or going to the dog park and helping us post on social media. We also have our sleepover programs. It allows family to come and take the foster dog for a weekend and post, as long as they're posting videos and pictures, that helps them get adopted. It also gives us information that we don't see while they're at the shelter. And what we learned from the first 48, we can do anything for 48 hours. So offering them to be able to take them over the weekend gets the animal out of our sheltering system for 48 hours, but it gives us insight into how they are at somebody's house. Our community cat program, We've talked about that, some of y'all individually. Our officers, our cats, we wrote a law in 2019, our cats are free roaming cats in the city of Cabot. We believe they belong to the community if they're outside, and they're healthy because they're probably fed between 3, 10, 15 different houses. Feed them. So my officers, we don't hide anything. We are transparent in my city. We don't hide anything. My officers, if they come in, they will be desexed, ear-tipped, vaccinated. They will be microchipped to a street. And my officers, in the bright light of day, will be in uniform in a city vehicle, and they will put them right back where they were found. And we get no complaints. So, all right, we do have a working cat program. We've had this one for a little bit. This was before we put the new law in about community cats, but our working cat program is simple because we do get owner-surrendered cats. And some of those, they're cats, okay? Some of those are less than happy for it to be handled and to be put into a new home. Therefore, we do offer a working cat program to where they can go out to somebody's barn. We have a lot of feed stores that want cats. They want them around. They love the company. They love the work they do. So we have that. We also have microchipping. We do microchip for the public, not just our animals in our care. And then, of course, we have the desexing, and then we have a drive-through vaccination clinic twice a year where people never leave their vehicle. They just drive through, and the vets give all the vaccines in the vehicle as they go through. We have them in March and in September. Our September clinic runs around, we do it for 4 hours from 8 to noon, and our September clinic runs around between 1,800 and 2,100 vaccines in that 4-hour period. And our spring clinic is our big one. We get anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 vaccines done in a 4-hour period. We're a town of 27,000. I want to keep saying that. So some of your larger towns could exponentially increase that number. Keep Kittens with Mom. This is a public education program to where we do not want kittens brought into the shelter. Growing up with a mother and litter mates is an essential part of cat socialization. Proper socialization at a young age may help the kitten grow up to be less fearful, less skittish, and less aggressive. We have Paws Pals. This one, I really love this one. This one is our data shows that children show compassion for animals. They have a higher self-esteem. They have less stress and increased cognitive development. So this program are for our pre-K to 4th graders, so our 4-year-olds to 4th grade, and they write letters to, we have 9 elementary schools in my town, but they write letters to all of our animals. And then our animals write letters back. So it's really good. And then they come up and they take tours and they see the animals they wrote letters to. So and if they don't see them there, then we bring them into the room and we show them their adoption pictures and their new families. We have Help Me Heal. This is just names I come up with. These are for animals that come into us that are injured, sick, beyond our normal scope of care. We just put it out to the public. They raise the funds. We get them taken care of. Golden Opportunity, and there's a lot, sorry guys. Golden Opportunity, this one is to help with the gingers of the world. And, you know, data shows that a great way to combat feelings of loneliness and isolation many seniors feel is to provide them with a pet. So we offer reduced fee, typically it's free adoptions to seniors. And there's always that question of, well, what happens if they pass away? The same thing that would happen if a 22-year-old passed away. We'd find another home for a pet, is what we would do. No Paws Left Behind. This is our deposit program, because our records indicated that our number one reason for animals coming into our sheltering system was pet deposits. We've since learned that that was wrong. That was our perception and how we put it in our system. But our records also showed that once somebody got rid of an animal to us, within 3 months they had another animal. So that pet deposit I would rather pay the $250 or $500 pet deposit and not have the animal. Because now I've got the animal, and look, they've got another animal. So now we've doubled the population in my city because I couldn't help them keep their animal. Our CAS Kids, this is our elementary education program. This talks about pet safety, animal care, adoptions, spay and neuter. We know that as kids grow up, if they're provided this information, they grow up in a healthier lifestyle. And a lot of these kids take that information we give them and take it back to their pets. And kids today are sassy. We'll use the word sassy. But they have no problem telling their mom, you can't do that. Don't treat Fluffy that way. So, and they can get away with it when they're young. 15's tough for them to get away with it. CAS Connect, we have a program for our post-elementary and our adult humane education. We have a few videos, but typically these are in-person trainings where we will talk to folks about animal behavior. We'll talk to them about diseases. We'll talk to them about health care. Anything that we put a poll out on social media and they think they want to talk about, or our street teams come back and say we're seeing a big issue with, we will put together a class. Now, do we have a lot of attendance? No, we have 8 to 10, but that's 8 to 10 people that I would have normally seen. Get On My Home, that's our public rehoming. We use rehome and home-to-home. And it's not the same home-to-home as what we were told here. This is the American version, okay? But anytime somebody wants to own or surrender an animal to us, we ask them to hold on to it for 2 weeks, and they have to put it on one of these websites and work through it that way. As taxpayers, because I'm a taxpayer, it upsets me the fact that, and I won't say irresponsible pet owners, because there are situations where we take in owner surrenders immediately without a wait. But I do think that as a taxpayer, I have the right to ask other people to try it first before you just dump the animal on us. And there's that dump, which we don't know if they're dumping or not, right? That's that bias we have, that cynicism we have. So we do require that. And we also use something called Finding Rover. It's now part of Petco Love. It's actual facial recognition for animals. If you haven't heard of it, it actually works. It's amazing. But it helps us in 3 ways. The owners can upload photos of their pets. And if shelters are using this program and their pets wind up in a shelter, they'll get notification. Finders can upload photos of animals they found. And then, of course, all the animal shelters, if you're a partner with them, all of your animals are uploaded in there as well. So the software matches photos and then contacts all parties involved with the match. Is it 100%? No. Is it going to fix all of our problems? No. Is it another tool in our toolbox? It is. Helping Hands. This one is our domestic violence boarding. In the U.S., we have an issue with co-boarding, co-housing. Matter of fact, there's only about 90 out of 3,000 shelters in the U.S. that allow cohabitat for domestic violence. So they either leave and leave their pet behind, or they don't leave at all. So we'll board for them. This is a very sad situation because abusers will use pets like children. They will use that to keep them there. They will threaten them. They will injure them in front of them as a means of coercion and to keep them down. And then we have a Spay It Forward program. Now, the Spay It Forward program, that's newer in the fact that this is where people can actually anonymously pay for the next person to have their animal desexed without them knowing it. It happens a lot in America. I don't know about here, but you'll go through a fast food or a drive-through, And you'll get up to the line and they'll say, oh, the person in front of you already paid your bill. It's an amazing feeling, right? Then what happens? Oh, I just pay for the guy behind me, is what I do. And that's typically what happens. So it's a steamroll effect. Rescue Riders, this is our transport company, our transport group. We go through, we don't do as many transports anymore because I believe the animals come from the community. Then there was space in the community for the animals to begin with. So we don't transport out. But we do, we still have this program in case of natural disasters and emergencies. And then Dogs Eat, Cats Dine, food pantry. There is a difference there. If you've seen a dog eat and you've seen the little prim and proper cat eat, they're more dining and we're more eating. That's just our food pantry. It's open to any and everybody. We don't ask for, for your benefits card from the government or your proof of wages. And that's simply because who am I to tell you that you make too much money and you shouldn't spend it on that Porsche or Lexus? Okay? It's not the animal's fault. And sometimes people just get overwhelmed. All right. And how much time do I have? 5 minutes. Oh, wow. Okay, we're gonna skip through a lot of this then. This are my highlighted programs. We went through some of these. Fences for Fido, that's my officers, do temporary repairs on fences. And they put the animal back in the fence. There is a story with that Fences for Fido program that I was asked to talk about. It is not in here. I would love to talk about that. So if you all come to my day-long tomorrow, I will be happy to go into that story. It changed my life on the animal management and control side. Numbers, community numbers. Last year we did 6,701 vaccines. We did 1,456 public. These are all community numbers, not shelter numbers. Desexings, we did 1,045 microchips. We gave away 33,276 pounds of food. Emergency medical was 13,562. When we did the diagnostic, our vet bills actually came down, because now the vet discusses with us what needs to be done rather than them going to the vet and discuss with the owner. $6,000 for free desexing and $400 on pet deposits. Remember what I said? That was our number one reason for animals being dropped off. When we offered the assistance, we got more to the root of the problem, and it wasn't the pet deposit. They were just embarrassed to tell us that they couldn't afford to take care of the animal. It's much easier to blame a landlord than it is to blame that I have a job and bills that I can't afford to take care of an animal. So the total there was $710,000. Oops, there's that slide again. So we're going to remain judgment-free, right? Because if we judge people, it leads to poor decisions and barriers to success in the community. So let's talk about Luther Alfred Bayless. He was a poor vegetable farmer. He was a second grade graduate. He was a lifetime alcoholic. He was abusive to his wife, his kids, and his grandkids. He bathed once a year. He was dishonorably discharged from the U.S. Navy during World War II. Luther Alfred Bayless provided for the family. He never missed a single day of work in 60 years and worked on the farm every day after work. He stopped drinking and smoking cold turkey after his wife hit him over the head with a ceramic walnut at the age of 63. He could do math in his head faster than any calculator. He loved his family and would defend them to the death if needed. One time, he even had a shootout with a neighbor over his grandson being threatened. He laid in a bed in his living room at the age of 84, agonizing in pain, heavily medicated, with the entire family surrounding him, just so he could wait for his grandson to come home from Colorado so that he could apologize to him before he would allow the doctor to shut off his oxygen and stopped the medication and given him just minutes before he passed away. Luther Alfred Bayless is my grandpa. He was a very troubled person, but he's also one of the greatest people I ever knew. Sorry about that. So be careful of who we judge. Enter every conversation judgment-free. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandpa taught me, it said, it doesn't matter what you become in life. If you want to be a ditch digger, then be the best damn ditch digger in the country. He also said, if you have to tell somebody to go to hell, make them look forward to the trip. So remember this, it's a long game. Be everywhere, be available, care about all people, do as I say, not as I do, not as I say, and remember that no one, you're a no one. Lasting change doesn't happen overnight. Focus on the wins in your agency. Believe it or not, you have more wins than losses every day. Do what's right, not what's easiest for you. Because it's much easier for me to hire somebody to pick up animals and euthanize them than it is for me to find out what the community needs and take care of those needs. So do what's right, not what's easiest. And remember, the community is the solution, not the problem. Thank you.
Well, Mike, I know that one of the central tenets that you ask us to remember is that you are no one, but I tell you what you are, and that's an inspiration to all of us in this room with what you've managed to achieve, with your vulnerability. Thank you, Mike. I'll invite Jim up now. We've got just a couple of minutes for questions. So make sure you've got them in on the Hoover app. And while Jim is coming up, we've got some prizes for people with the most upvoted questions. And I will, if these people can come and see me, and I'll give you your, go to the event office and you'll get your prize. We've got Renee Jackson, Heidi Vestergaard, and Dr. Susan Hazel. So if you can go and collect your prize from the event office. All right, first question for Jim from Renee. What are your thoughts on behavioural medication, and do you use it in your line of work? Also, do you work with veterinary behaviourists?
Okay, it's already set up. Yes, I work with veterinary behaviorists and with veterinarians a lot. Although I have my PhD, I am not a veterinarian, so I cannot prescribe medications. I cannot make a legal diagnosis. And I don't spay or neuter animals myself. If I'm in your animal, I can tell you why it's dead and how it's dead, but I can't fix it. I'm not licensed for that. I do, however, work with veterinarians and veterinary behaviorists to look at the possibilities based on the problem of using medication to assist us with behavioral modification. To put it kind of simply, and I'll try to do it quickly here, and maybe I can balance this thing. Most dogs, people, whatever, live at a certain level of arousal day to day. There is a level of arousal that, for instance, causes us to react, to cause a dog to bite. A bite threshold is what we loosely use to term it. If I've got a dog that is living in a chronic state of anxiety or is often confronted by acute fear, and that's something tomorrow, but fear and anxiety are related but two different things, they may be living up here, just underneath that threshold. Training and rehabilitation happens in the space between where they live day to day and where their threshold of what they can actually handle exists. If we have a very small distance between those two levels, then medication in consultation with a veterinarian and based on the dog's individual medical history and conditions, can give us some extra space so that when we introduce a stressor or we introduce something related to the triggers for problem behaviors, instead of immediately bouncing across the threshold of biting, instead they've got a little bit of movement room up and down. And by using the medication to start that, then we can use behavior modification to desensitize and start driving that day-to-day level lower and lower over time. Ideally, someday we can get to the point where we then, if appropriate, wean the medication off or redirect or lower the dosage, whatever, so that the animal has more room because it's learned to deal with the situation better and has developed new behaviors, a new approach to things, and a concept that I'm currently exploring. Perhaps we can help the dog or the animal develop a new mind map of how their world works and how they fit in it. And the medication can be part of that so that ideally, sooner or later, we eliminate the medication, reduce it, and the dog still has that room to be able to continue to learn and improve its quality of life, and therefore hopefully be able to live without the meds. Just like with people, there are some dogs that probably should be on meds and may be on it all their life. I do strongly disagree with the current policy in the U.S. I'm not sure if they're doing it here. But in the U.S., in a lot of municipal shelters, dog comes through the door, and the first thing they do is, right now, the popular drug, they're throwing trazodone. They're throwing trazodone at everything that comes through the door. So number one, you don't know if it's the right meds. You don't know if you got the right dosage. And the behavior you see in the shelter on a medicated dog may not be the behavior you see in another circumstance. It may be better, it may be worse, it may be erratic, it may be inconsistent. So I have a real problem with throwing meds on every animal that comes in the door. That would be like every person that came in the door to the hotel, we gave them 3 good heavy doses of Valium and then wondered why they were wandering around bumping into things in the lobby.
Thank you, Jim. One really quick question for Mike, and I'll just ask part of this question in the interest of time. You spoke about dogs having vacations away from the shelter. How do you choose and trust which dog and which carer is ready for those outings, I guess, in terms of welfare for the dog, but also in terms of duty of care to the public and safety and things like that?
Well, we know our dogs, first of all, and people, we're all adults, okay? If I'm judging who's coming in to take a dog out for a day out, then is that any better than judging somebody on whether they can adopt the dog? People take responsibility for themselves. We go through our rules. You know, we don't want them to take them to the dog park, for example, on their first time out. But them riding and taking them on a car ride through McDonald's to get them a cheeseburger, please let them do that. You know, them taking them and walking them on a leash around one of the stores in our community that's dog friendly, please let them do that. If these are not animals that you can adopt out, that's one thing. But if these are dogs that you have up for adoption, then why would we decide that somebody is not worthy enough to take them out? And why would we say, oh, well, you can't take that dog. You could take this one. They're both adoptable, and you're an adult. So let's let people be adults.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mike. And a big thank you to both our speakers from this morning's session.